Marufu. Next person, Marufu.
Salibonani, kalami until Marufu, ngivela ku-WAFT. Next person, Dwele.
Salibonani, linjani emakhaya. Ibizo lami ngududuzile Mathema, ngakho ngisebenza ngise-Wild. Ngiqambo olandelayo Themba.
Oqeda ukwenza introduction yakhe yaqambo olandelayo.
Okay, u-Angela yena bese yenzile introduction.
Hayi.
Ngiqambo Angela.
Hello. Sorry, my microphone was muted. Salibonani. Ibizo lami Angela Chinamasa from what? The next person I can nominate to speak. Kulo Galaxy. Okay, there's Portia M.
Salibonani, ibizo lami ngingu-Portia Madzikire, ngingu-Programs Officer e-Women's Institute for Leadership Development. Okay. Khumalo.
Salibonani, ibizo lami nguzibonele Khumalo, ngingu-secretary ku-WAC Men's Award Advocacy Committee eLupane. Ngicela ukukhangela ukuthi ngubani ongakani. U-Antel Marufu bese khulumile anti. Embabonayo Angela sekhulumile lo Portia. Okulo Tseyisi.
Salibonani. Salibonani, ibizo ngutafatswa Tseyisi, Programs Officer e-World. Uzibonele bese khulume.
Yebo bese khulumile.
Okay. Mbona sales. Othembelihle Mhlanga.
I think uthiwa bese introducile u-sales ngiyongakayenza ama-introductions. Sales, are you reachable?
Asambeni ku-M Ngwenya nxa u-sales angekho well connected.
Salibonani, ibizo lami nguMonica Ngwenya, Lupane Local Board Chairperson.
Hello. All right, hello.
Ngalo ngizwakele.
Siyabonga Mrs. Ngwenya. Usibanda la is still trying to connect kulaba bakhona. I think nguye ongu-sales usibanda. Uthi usazama ukuconnecta. Mbone ngani from invited list yethu kusaswele i-KRDC. I'm trying to get hold of them. Ukuthi ngizwe ukuthi labo are they facing ama challenges? Bongu-2.
Ukanye ngani le bandwidth internet is very, very low. But however, I got an apology from council chairman uthi is attending a funeral. Khona ngale kulo osebhubhile undi.
Spanda, sukani silungene. So that's Scalis.
Yeah, I think we can start in the Mrs. Ngwenyamia is still connecting, so we can go ahead.
All is a very long. While you are trying to get hold of KRDC, since we council chairperson senike apology. Umama Zulu lo chairperson lo CEO wakhe, I think they are also trying to connect. Ngithanda ukulibingelela lonke. Ngithi welcome to i-program le. I-idea ukuthi sihlangane lapha ukuthi sinanzelele ukuthi i-COVID yenza abantu bengahlangani ndawonye, and i-COVID also COVID-19 iyaphambanisa ezinye inhlelo okumele sizenze sikhangelela ukuthi thina silama local authorities amabili eLupane esisebenza lawo, iLupane local board le Kusile Rural District Council. These two local authorities elama communities awasevayo in service delivery and other services. So for this meeting we're looking at best how are they being affected by lockdown and COVID-19 in respect to service delivery, especially considering that we are working more with women and children, and kuba affecta njani. What is it that after being affected, kuyini asebephumela ko as new strategies to curtail this, because it looks like COVID is here to stay. We are going to live with it for quite some time, so life cannot stop. So in that regard, we were thinking what we might need to discuss and find out what is it best that they are doing, what are the challenges that they are facing, what resolutions that they have come up with during these lockdown periods and the COVID-19 situation. So I think with that brief background, considering isikhathi sethu sidliwe abantu bengekho, angazi ngingacela one from local board ukuthi maybe asinike either uma Ngwenya or uSibanda, but I believe uSibanda will be better ukuthi asinike a brief presentation on what I've said, what are the challenges they are facing, how are they coping up with them, how are they doing their service delivery during the lockdown period, and what are the strategies that they've invented to curtail our challenges. Ngiyabonga Mr. Sibanda.
Thank you so much. I think generally we have the following challenges. One, we're supposed to have quarterly meetings where the council is supposed to interact with the community. So going on virtual, it has got setbacks. Not everyone is connected on these gadgets, so-called the tablets or phones or Android systems. So it made it practically impossible to see because we are supposed to interact a lot with our communities. We are supposed to have quarterly meetings, quarterly meetings where we see budget yetu. We necessarily feedback to the community. But the most setback indaba zokuthi inzuzo yethu imali ayingeni because of lockdown. Reasons from just a preliminary survey ukuthi people are concentrating on what they have, maybe ukhangelisa more than paying rates. The movement is restricted, although we have an eco cash where people can pay using eco cash, although we have accounts where people can pay using various accounts. Some are doing that, some are not, because of what they've been affected adversely by COVID-19 in terms of their revenue as well. We were also supposed to have kickstarted our program-based budget consultation. It's not possible because of the reasons I highlighted. And we've been facing also serious challenges in terms of service delivery. If you carefully maybe assess, we've been having challenges in refuse collection because of few or limited revenue streams that were coming into our council. So I think basically those are the challenges for now that are a setback to the community. There is no communication, or should I say effective communication between ourselves and stakeholders. Yes, we had few meetings with stakeholders, representatives, but you will appreciate that they will need data and sometimes connectivity challenges. So those are the issues that are currently affecting us. Now, in terms of trying to come up with the way forward, we recently installed a program called the Housing Module. It's a computerization program which seeks to communicate with the community in the form of SMSs, but you will realize that most of our clients did not leave active phone numbers. So we're trying to work on that system now to input all our clients into that housing module, such that when we have a meeting, we can then use it in the form of SMS. It communicates, it sends messages, while we appreciate these other social media platforms such as WhatsApp we have, but we would really want to maybe come up with a possible comfortable measures, but we need community to discuss those things, and we have not yet had a meeting where we can have our community together, discuss and say how best can we communicate in COVID-19, because involvement of community is very, very important in decision making. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Spanda. When City, I think the program here to Abe RDC Asbatoli, Gukanya, most of them are joining. I think maybe by Mfeni or facing challenges, I'm not sure. But when since Atwela Mama, Mrs. Ngwenya Uti, Atika Nani and Yenjo chairperson with LLP, actual challenges that what is it that is important and also as a person coming from a residence aspect, actually the few words that are related to women and service delivery, the challenges that they're facing.
Ngiyabonga Mr. Sihwa. Yeah, ama-challenges esingathi silawe kakhulu mina i-resident yeLupane. Sinanzelela kakhulu ukuthi kulama-cases amaningi kakhulu okuhlukuluzana kwabantu ezindlini, just because obaba abaningi sebehlala ezindlini, abanye babekhangelela ukuthi ubaba uyabe esemsebenzini, etshona esemsebenzini. Khathesi nge-lockdown le abantu batshona besezindlini, so sokunanzeleleka ukuba lama-areas amaningi abantu sebesilwa, sokwanda ukuhlukuluzana kakhulu ezindlini lapho. Sihlangana lama-cases amaningi kakhulu, njalo labantwana ikakhulu amankazana sebeswele imisebenzi bengasayi esikolo, sokubangela ukuthi abaningi sebezithwala okuyizinto okufana lakhona lokho. Labafana sebehamba uzatholisana ukuthi bayahamba sebeqalisa ukuyadinga into ezinathwayo, besenza njani izinto ezingafanelanga. Konke khonokho ama-challenges zona lawo siyahlangana lawo ekuhlaleni kwethu njengabahlali belupani. Yebo.
Mama Ngwenya lingakabaleki ngicela lihle lithinte mbijana ukuthi ipolicy yona le lockdown yona ile impact bani wena njengoba njenge-policy maker ye-local board, ile impact bani ku-institute yakho oyichayayo entweni ezitshiyeneyo, ikakhulu sikhangelele i-service delivery in relationship to omama.
Ngiyabonga. Thina njengabomama ziningi izinhlelo okumele ukuthi sizenze, ikakhulu ezokufundisana, ikakhulu sikhangelane le-lockdown yona leyo, but sesisehluleka ngenxa yokuthi vele asivunyelwe ukuthi senze ama-meetings. So kuningi okumele sikuxwayisane njengabomama sihlele esigabeni, kodwa but ngama-restrictions zona la khona COVID asenelisi ukuthi sihlangane njengabomama sikhulumisane.
Okay, siyabonga ku-program yethu ukwenzela ukuthi sibambe isikhathi. Ngizazama ukucela ukuthi abalembuzo ngemvule mbijana labalama-other contributions ngoba khanya ngisile one local authority, so I think we will focus on them. Sile urban authority, i-rural khanya ngani njengoba kuthiwa i-rural ukuthi uthi kwalile kwizinto kwe-network. Ngizacela ukuthi abalembuzo labalama contributions towards what Usibanda lo Mama Ngwenya have said, we can raise up our hands and say something at least. Asilambuzo. Ngoma, don't you have anything to say?
Okay, sawubona once again. Mina ngizanika maybe example yalokho njalo ukubona lapha ku-local authority yakoBulawayo ukuthi because of the lockdown and because of the COVID-19, local authority has been using ama-platforms njenge-WhatsApp to hold meetings lama residents. So maybe I want to find out from Ilupane local board, have you considered using platforms such as WhatsApp groups? And if you have been, how effective have those groups been? And also a period a period where we're supposed to be holding budget consultative meetings as the local authorities with our communities, and what strategies have we put in place looking at we might still be under a COVID-19 lockdown or restrictions of COVID-19. And maybe in my response, I wanted to really zero down on WhatsApp meetings. Have we used them, and do we feel they are effective? Is it something that we can consider to use, maybe even for public consultative meetings? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Spanda. I think you can take that question, or we open it before Spanda takes up. If there's anyone with a related contribution or a different question, so that Spanda and my pendula at least are responding a one. Mr. Spanda, it looks like there's no one ofuna contributor for now or ofuna ukubuza. Maybe you can respond to what Ungoma has said.
Right, thank you, Chair. We have tried to use the platform called WhatsApp, and the challenges that we noted was that some of the community members have no capacity to buy data, if I may use that. There are expenses involved, so they feel they cannot join because of that, and sometimes what we are experiencing, others are also experiencing in terms of connectivity. We had one where we ended up typing because of failure to go on voices as we are doing. So the issues of connectivity and the costs associated with that also come to play in terms of interacting. And you'll appreciate that, like I said before, not everyone has a WhatsApp phone. There are other community members who have no WhatsApp phone. So it then becomes a problem to do WhatsApp call, but we have been trying it. Now, the other question was, what is the way forward in terms of budget consultation, looking at the fact that COVID is inevitable, it's still there. We are hoping that we will engage our stakeholders because we do not want to impose certain ways of doing things. Since we are representing the community, we wanted to come to terms with the community to agree in principle and say which is the best method that we can use to communicate during this lockdown in terms of a budget consultation. Maybe we had something in our minds which we would not preempt, but we would want them also to suggest possible ways. And if it means buying them in clusters data, we'll end up resorting to that for the purposes of communication, effective communication and involvement of everyone. It's unfortunate. We're hoping that the lockdown will be eased so that we can kickstart those few meetings where you have limited number of people you can interact with them, so on and so forth. But unfortunately for now, it appears we are still on lockdown, but we are working on that, but we have not yet engaged our community. We are avoiding a situation whereby we end up imposing some programs, which becomes a challenge to the community. They tend not to appreciate such programs. So maybe those are the issues that I can respond to for now, unless I missed something.
Thank you, Mr. Spanda. Anyone who wishes to add or have a further question on what they have said? If kungela, I think sizaqhubeka njengoba bengisitsho ukuthi ikhanganisile one local authority. Sizacela uLinda local bridge gender focal person asichasisele on how ELLB is gendering service delivery. How are they doing it? Ukuthi ibe le special focus towards gender sensitivity. Siyabonga, over to you, Linda.
Linda, unmute.
Linda.
Hello. Hello.
Siyakuzwa.
Okay, thank you so much. Sorry about that. It delay. What I can say, okuningi, of course, it has been said by Mr. Spanda and Madam Gwenya kuyangenelana, but what can engako add ukuthi lathi as gender unity ngapha, we've been trying something to help. Like 2 weeks back, like Mr. Spanda said, challenges who service delivery due to low revenue. We lati as the gender department, we tried mobilizing. It was facilitated by the chairperson Madam Ngwenya, mobilizing a cleanup from our residents, especially women, because we realized in the it's now we EBC bungola uthize. Like abantu amabhumi refuse ingacollectwanga, they tend to dispose rubbish kuma nearby places nje. So we find ukuthi town will be iyabe singcolile. So our chairperson mobilizer, including others, social services, or Mr. Spanda, then there was a cleanup which was done. I think maybe that's all what I can say as of now. That's what we are trying to do, because even our revenues, they are very low. Maybe we do our programs, but so far that's what we've been doing is the gender section. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Linda, for that. May I pose a question again along 3, I think a local board. In one of our meetings that we have had, we have spoken of safe spaces for women. Is there such go as a way of promoting a service delivery? Is there a service delivery that is gender focused, or are safe spaces that you have on social media? It could be expensive, as you are saying, but has been such attempts or efforts been done? What safe spaces for women in consultation or in asking them what challenges they are facing? I remember Mamna Mango when you take quite a number of GBV cases are happening in England. Also, what is it that our local institute, that is the local board, is doing towards making sure that there are safe households abantwana labo mama labo baba lapho abangahlukuluzani khona as part of what we are talking about? This program really focuses kakhulu kubo mama. Uspanda, Ulinda, or Mama Ngwenya, anyone can take the mic.
Thank you. I think the issue domestic violence is a bit of a complex issue that may not be a one-man band issue, but it requires a multi-disciplinary approach or multi-sectoral approach. So it's an issue that may require us to come to terms with other players or other stakeholders, like police, NGOs, and those other players that are involved, like social welfare, in this area, so that we can make strategies of mitigating issues of, or a campaign, should I say, or formulate some messages that we can send through WhatsApp as suggested by other players, or SMSs, to communicate maybe the message of gender violence cases. Or so for now we have not yet had any opportunity, or should I say we have not yet hit the ground running in terms of capping that situation because of other challenges that we are facing. But otherwise, I think the best would be to bring other players together and try to come up with a solution on how best can we assist each other to spread the message in terms of campaigns and other issues. Thank you.
Thank you, Spanda. Anyone from LLB who wants to add something? Mama Ngwenya or Linda?
Okay, mina kade ngafuna uku-add khona ukuthi what we've done angikwazi I thought Mr. Sibanda will touch on that. Ukuthi kule demand eningi yama flea markets. Since abantu abaningi baphilelwa imisebenzi, abantu they were trying ukuthi labo be make a living ngama flea markets. I-local board availile some of the spaces, flea market spaces yanika abantu. Sibanda I think can take over. Nguye ongaba lama details more than me.
Usibanda akathathi over ngicela ukuthi khonapho ngihle ngingezelele. Sibanda where possible maybe kuma flea markets khonapho ungatsho ukuthi roughly what's the estimate percentages abo mama that you would have given those flea markets?
I think it's thank you. The percentage is almost 99% of the stand the owners flea markets ngomama in terms of ownership. Of course, we had a meeting which we cannot preempt now with the SMEs, Ministry of SMEs, in trying to come up with proper structures to accommodate our people from the flea market and vending. So there is a promise, of course, it's not something that we can discuss as I said, in terms of trying to come up with a proper structure to accommodate our clients there. So, but however, last week there was a meeting which was trying to address that in terms of the infrastructure designs where the affected people were consulted, the vendors and the flea market or clients to at least contribute on what kind of a structure they would want. So that has been done and the designs have been submitted. But basically most of the people are owning space there, 99% are women, but they are facing challenges. As you can see, it's not uniform, it's not friendly where they are. There is nothing in the form of a shed. The structures are not pleasing in appearance. So one way or the other, in terms of appearance and to attract customers, it could be issues. But when they opened, at least we partnered with the Ministry of Health, and there was also police to at least explain to them that rather a campaign in terms of COVID-19 on how they should operate using WHO guidelines. I think that was done. And also to discourage them from crossing the border, especially during this lockdown because of the new strains that we had and the spread of the COVID to local. So, but our observation is that of late, few of them, if any, appears to be have really observed that. But of course, you would realize some will still cross the border. But the efforts were made to communicate with them in terms of WHO guidelines for COVID-19. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sibanda.
Hello. Hello. Can
Yebo,
I
Mama
add
Ngwe.
something?
Siyabonga.
Yeah, okunye futhi esibona ukuthi kungasincedisa kakhulu for the way forward. We have got ama-community gardens esilawo. Sawayenzela ukuthi kuncedise labo abangani less privileged. So now besikhangelela ukuthi ngezikhathi lezi ze-COVID akukho right ukuthi sebenzisa isibhorane bekojoza. Sifuna ukuthi ezuSibanda echilo before ukuthi kumele ukuthi into le ingabi ngemuntu oyi-one but siyingejane sonke ama-stakeholders sihlanganise amakhanda ndawonye sibonisane. Siyafuna ukuthi nxa kuyikuthi ama-NGO zethu esilawo esisebenza ndawonye lawo bengasincedisa sithole into enjengama-submissive pumps labo-jojo tank si-connecte laphana kuma-gardens ethu abantu bangabe besebenzisa isibhorane. Sibona ngani futhi lakho kungaba ngenye indawo yokuthi abantu bengathola kakhulu umkhuhlane we-COVID-19 because ngike ngavakatshela khona akula abantwana batshona bedlalela khona omunye ufike ekotshoza phampana kusanitayizwa isibhorane asisanitayizwa khona kuthana kungabangela ukuthi kube lokumemetheka komkhuhlane singakunanzeleli. So siyacela ukuthi ngabe siyayenza nje into njengomhlangano sihlaleni phansi sibone ukuthi singa-assista njani. Kuzasenza futhi ukuthi sikwanise ukuthi senqabeleni umkhuhlane. At the same time si-create into enjengokuba okokuzincedisa empilweni abantu abaningi abaswelayo silabo ku-community, silama-elderly, silabantwana, silezintandane. Nxa bengaba involved kuma-gardens wona lana labo belime into engabanikeza inzuzo, sibona ukuthi kungancedisa kakhulu. Sike sakhuluma ngabe-agriculture, bafisa ukuthi ngabe siyabahlanganisa manje, ukuthi sibahlanganise kakwenzi kathi ezinye izikhathi lezi eze-COVID. Sisalindele ukuthi kurelaxwe ama-conditions e-COVID-19, senze umhlangano sibanxuse ukuthi bebuye bezobafundisa ukuthi bengayenza njani ukuze belime izilimo ezilohlonzi ukuthi zibancedise labo emalini yokuthi bazithuthukise. So kumele ukuthi sihlanganeni sonke njengabantu. Okunye futhi esikwenzayo lapha ngiyabona ngalezi nsuku kuyagijigijinywa ngamagreda. Kwi-employment ekhona vele sithi 50-50 omama labobaba. Kuyancedisa kakhulu lapho ukuthi abesifazane labo bethole labo kokwenza, ikakhulu beyibo abanakekela izimuli ngasemakhaya.
Siyabonga umama Ngwenya, siyabonga uSibanda, siyabonga i-local board ngama-ideas amahle elilawo. They are very, very great. Siyabonga ukunxuswa ukuthi ama-non-profits elisebenza lawo luwanxuse ukubana alincedise kuma-sustainable projects. I think lathi labo ngoma sizahlala phansi sifisa ukubana nxa kungaba le ndlela esibona ngayo ukuthi kungancediswana njani kuzohlaliswana phansi kukhulunyiswane kuncediswane. Ngingakayi kungoma nanzelela ukuthi sile young person uzibusiso, maybe izibusiso uSibanda uke wakhuluma ngokuthi bale challenge ye refuse collection, young and being a woman, a young woman, bale challenge ye refuse collection because of resources abantu abasabhadala ama-rates. How are they affecting Lena, young people and young women, and how are they affecting the environment that we are living in?
Thank you, Mr. Siho. As young people, we note with COVID-19, it has posed a lot of challenges, especially to young people. Sorry, I joined in late. I wanted to ask around issues for abantu abasha. With COVID-19, it has brought like access to information challenges. Emakhaya, information ayifinyeleli khona as in the urban areas. So I wanted to find out what has the two councils done, what have the two councils done in terms of disseminating information around the COVID-19, because I think but it has been around Lapa because there have been young people who have raised concerns emakhaya, people are so reluctant when it comes to following the regulations. Abantu, they are still gathering, they're still going to soccer matches and all that. So I wanted to ask maybe the two councils ukuthi sebeyenze njani ukuthi befinyelele emakhaya ngale. And then when it comes to environmental issues in terms of benikhulume refuse collection, we have realized ukuthi khona abantu abatsha labo ngabanye abacontributayo to ukungcolisa our city, but we are trying ukuthi sibe environmentally cautious ukuthi abantu abatsha nge-lockdown yena leyi kungabi yibo abayenza i-air pollution environment yethu. In terms of siyake sabona ngale eMramba, there are kule ndawo like a dumping site khona phana abantu balahlela khona phana izipho. So we were saying we want to reach out to the local board ngokuthi i-refuse collection ngale sokule dumping site enzima ukuthi abantu bayalahlela izipho nje kuphela. And I think this has been due to ukuthi i-COVID-19 abantu bahlezi ezindlini, they are not doing anything. So abantwana bayadlala khona lapho. I think diseases, they're going to contract diseases just because of that health hazard that is looming. Thank you.
Through the chair, I think in
Spanda, you
terms
may
of
maybe
reaching,
may respond, be Janaj.
yeah, through the chair, as I said, maybe in terms of reaching out to Makaya, Kara DC will look into that. But in terms of us, we have, in terms of information dissemination, I think those that are on Facebook and other social media platforms, at least have seen us doing campaigns. Like I said, we don't do them independently. COVID-19 is chaired by the Ministry of Health. I think you have heard the Ministry of Health guys using our area, speaking, and other great speakers that are there, police, other stakeholders like information, Ministry of Information, spreading the word of COVID-19. Now there is a question in terms of a dump site, Emramba, according to this previous speaker. I thought she was referring to our own dump site, which is a designated area where we are trying to come up with a landfill. But then when I was listening carefully, it appears it's a dump site that is illegal, that has been created by the community. What could have contributed to that? One is the lack of collection of refuse on our part. As I had said on our earlier on when I spoke, that we had a problem, a challenge to collect refuse effectively and efficiently due to problems of our tractor. We have one tractor, it had a breakdown, so it required to be serviced. So to get the parts, you realize some of the industries were affected by COVID-19. They were not immune to the fact that they didn't fall under what is known as essential services. So they were closed. So we had to wait until such a time they opened for us to fix our track. So that could be one of the driver. And secondly, for us to reach out to the community, I think it is possible if we've identified that hotspot. Maybe after the conversation, you can at least send us details where exactly the hotspot is in terms of a dump site. We have done it before. We engage that locality. We do a small campaign where we clean ourselves, including the community. Thereafter, we come up with our own norms on how to mitigate that dump site in future. So it's something that we are just acknowledging, and now that there is a dump site that we are not aware of. Maybe if you share with us this hotspot or the area that is affected, will react and talk to the community in that locality. We come up with a way forward. Someone talked of diseases that are likely to emanate in that particular area, and the children playing around that area. Yes, it's of concern. I think we can also liaise with Ministry of Health and make sure that at least we team up in this campaign. It's not difficult because we can use a area, we can mobilize them through a area, and we can communicate with them through a area, so it's easy. So I think that's what I have for now.
Nalo. Chair, hello.
Go ahead, Mrs. Kenya.
Okay. Yeah, ngikhuluma lami ngiyelekelela ukukhulunywa nguSibanda la. I-dump site le abakhuluma ngayo, I think last time ku clean up campaign esayenzayo, lami njengomhlali weLupane, I had to mobilize ama-youth ukuthi lawa ancedise during the day yelokhu clean up exercise. So ama-youth ayemobiliziwe awamaningi, but they were restricted because of COVID-19 regulations. Indawo yakhona naleyo sasiyikhangele sibili siyayazi siyayibona, and kubi kubuhlungu especially kithi thina abantu abangomama yadingisela ukuthi kathi vele kusuka kuthini njalo sihlala njani ezindlini zethu nxa indawo yakhona injalo yindawo futhi ekhangelele esegcekeni okokuthi even labadala bethu nxa bethowa indawo yelupane kungasiyangisa kakhulu. So the day ye-clean up exercise kwakhinwa nje lathi sikhangelele ngapha kakhulu emgwaqweni sasikhangelele ukuthi kuza kuba le-heroes then kwaklinwa ngapha then ngale ngasengihamba mina siyathowa amalokhuzeni ama-sites wona lawo lapho abantu asebelahlela khona izinto. Hayi ngiyavuma sibili kudingakala ukuthi sihlaleni phansi sincedisaneni. That's why ngake ngabuya, I think Mr. Mhlanga still remember ukuthi ngake ngabuya ngicela ama-refreshments ukuthi abantwana esiyabe sibamobilizile ngokuthi babezinikele nje bengadinganga ukuthini ukuthi nje bebe benatha amanzi kalokhu sokuqalisile ukutshisa. Sikhangelele indawo ezinjengazona lezo ukuthi sincedisane njengama-stakeholders wenzele ukuthi lathi sikline nini. I think i-exercise enjalo futhi singayiphinda nini lisincedise kakhulu njengoba lani liyavuma ukuthi idolobho linjani lingcolile. Okunye futhi esikukhangelele kakhulu ukuthi thina abahlali belupane asikabi layo ingqondo leyo ukuthi lathi sifisa ukuthi idolobho lethu lihlanzeke. Kuba nzima kakhulu as i-responsible authority ukuthi iperforme kuhle ama-duties ayo. Ukuthi ngingakwanisa ukuthi collect laba abantu benanzelela ukuthi lapha kukliniwe akumelanga ukuthi singcolise. Kule need futhi ukuthi sihlanganise nini futhi izakhamizi sibe lokho sibatshela ngokuthi idolobho lethu kuze lihlanzeke kudingakala mina lawe ukuthi idolobho lethu lihlanzeke. Kusithwalisa nzima kakhulu ukuthi i-take yathi iqeda kucollecta izibi khonapho umuntu sehambe ephosela. Even nge-clean up kuzeni exercise i-daily yana eyaqanjwayo ngu-president. Uyathola ukuthi ama-local authorities i-staff yisesiphuma siye-clean. Thina abahlali belupane vele asizihluphi ngakho. Uyathola ukuthi even lemgwaqweni lemgerweni siyaphonga ukuphosela izibi asilandaba. Abantu babekulunguza ngamawindi belunguza izisebenzi ze-local board ukuthi ziyaklina kodwa engakwazi ukuthi laye ngomlando wakhe okumele ukuthi laye aphume ngalelo langa aklini. I think kule need yokuthi sibili sihlanganiseni amakhanda abantu bekhuthazwe kube lama-awareness campaign abantu befundiswe. Bengaqeda ukufundiswa-ke abantu then bese implementa-ke ama-bylaws ethu ukuthi ilayini lelayini kumbe indawo lendawo ezabonakala ingcolile abantu bakhona benze njani. Kube khona sort of ukujeziswa maybe abantu bengatshintsha ukwenza nxa sikhangelane lezi engcekeza. Ngiyabonga.
It looks like we've lost Alfred. May I call in Dorika Zulu, the gender profile person for the RITC, to share some insight on their offering service delivery. How are they generating their service delivery and service exchange towards their region? Over to you, Mazu.
Yes, hello.
Yabo ukuthi siphatha njengokusile ukuthi ndina ku service delivery ye omama libabeka kusiphi isibanga.
Hello, Matabeleland.
Yabo.
Mama Zulu would go through my phone. She's having challenges. She's having network challenges in her phone.
Okay. Was that to somebody?
Yeah,
well, maybe you raise something. this question will go to Madam Linda, Mama Chairperson, Commissioner, which previous meeting that we had during the 16 days of gender activism against domestic violence, there was a point that was raised by women on issues of ownership of estate. After the death of male spouses, or mama problem you own an estate. So as the local authority, what system did you put in to address that impact? Is Madam Dorika online? Mazulu?
Yes, I'm online.
Go ahead.
Kulo mbuzo wakho wokugcina khathesi utheni ngama local authorities said ije ukuthi bathini benzani ngegender izinto ethi.
Yes, khangelelo bayakhala ngendaba the ownership of property after they failed to ukuthi change property to amabizo abo. So njengama local authorities, how do you address ama issues lawana ama conflict over ama estate?
Okwakhathesi nxa bebuya siyaba advise ukuthi baye court, ikakhulu ababa lama challenges laba bengela mtshado ngoba at the mercy of ama relatives ukuthi batsho ukuthi ubethethwe ube ngumkakhe, but nxa ile marriage certificate it's easier. Njalo sile NGO vele ebincedisa omama ngokuthi ngama properties benze njani. Khathesi nje last week besincedisana labo mama ababili, saba advise ukuthi baye court yabalungisela ukuthi sebengavula ama accounts abo. Omunye umkakhe wayesebenza, omunye wayengasebenzi, ukuthi abone ukuthi izinto leziyana ezisele ekhaya ngezakhe labantu abakhe, ngoba nxa indoda isifile izihlobo zona azizwela abantwana, zabe sezikhangela ukuthi zithini zithathe iproperty. Yikho like ku meeting ye gender ama counselors atshela ukuthi hayi bancedisane labo mama emakhaya. Information le cascaded to osobhuku ukuthi umama nxa engasekho bangamthatheli ngoba kulabantwana abanye futhi babe sesikolo bebancane, ukuthi bangabathatheli ilifa lika baba, babone ukuthi ilifa lelana lincedisa abantwana ukuthi bakhule bafunde. Yikho kukhona.
Siyabonga Madam. Ungabe kukhona ofuna maybe from LLB, from local board, ukuthi khona how do they address ama problem fana lana le? Mr. Sikwa, you can take over. Standing for
in terms of ownership, property ownership. In terms of property ownership, it rests with the family. Our role is advisory. It's up to the family party. Well, in terms of cases of mama bahlukumezwa ezindlini, we have had few, of course, but during this COVID-19, I don't remember us having one, but we normally refer them to the court. The court is the one that decides on the fate. As a local authority, ours is on the advisory part, just to advise them as a family to sit down and map the way forward. And the court has a final say through a administration certificate that we use to change the ownership. Otherwise, without that document, we have no right or whatsoever to change the property. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. And over to Mr.
Yeah.
Sorry, I think mina presence zami kuphenduka, so I lost some discussions. Ngicela uqhubeke the so that ngibe kwazi where to join in.
Okay, we're looking at, actually we were welcoming Umama Umazulu from KRDC, like she was addressing in the how they handle the issues as the local authority one. It wasn't much then, but so we link in with the local body. Like one meeting, women raised a point which after the death of Muslim husband, the relatives of made figure property, and so it is the local authority. Or what information or what advice or what service do they offer?
Okay, thank you, Tim. When I will discuss Z, I can see you raised up your hand.
Oh, okay. I wanted to ask Konalapo Umama Zulu elapha, even the local board, in terms of we had a meeting sometime and the comfort mentioned to Guti with the COVID-19 abantwana bababhadaleli school fees. Abanye, they've dropped out of school because of teenage pregnancies, and they were appealing ukuthi bacela ukuthi maybe the councils could do something in terms of ukuthi abantwana bencediswe ngoba bathi njoba behlezi emakhaya bengayi esikolo ukuhlala kwabo kubagcina kubafaka engozini yokuthi sibabone sebengabazithweleyo. So with this lockdown going on, I wanted to ask Uguchi, what strategies have the councils put in place, or what are they thinking? Ngoba lockdown lay, we are only left with 3 months, and this kolo asazi kumbe zizavulwa ngoba soze zivulwe. Ukuthi abantwana singabavikela njani? Ngoba as we speak, maybe vele abanye bakhona sebezithwele, they won't be able to go back to school. Thank you.
Well, I said through the chair, I think you'll appreciate that. Firstly, we have acknowledged that we are struggling to raise or actually to financially stable because of poor revenue inflows. And secondly, you will appreciate that in terms of budgets, we did not budget for school dropouts. So I think that's the area where you come in strongly. Because we had various meetings, I remember, with the DA and all other stakeholders, including this local authority, KRDC, where MOPS, Minister of Primary and Secondary Education, raised that issue in the presence of all our stakeholders who were there on that day to say, how best can our stakeholders, such as NGOs, especially looking at the NGOs, they had some programs which they were supposed to partake, but because of COVID-19, their budgets were so flexible enough to mitigate COVID-19 related issues. And then we were saying, challenging you to say, that's the area which we believe you need to assist our communities by at least assisting those school dropouts to go back to school, those that are willing, and possible reinforce in terms of communication to avoid such future a problem. Thank you.
Thank you, Baba Spanda. Mina ngani sengiyimvulela hleko ngilokho ngingena ngiphuma. Kule any other contribution? Ngingakabiseli maybe kungoma or someone or anyone else, kukhona yini esingabe sifisa ukubana sithi way forward, maybe suggesting sisonke ndawonye ukuthi what is it that we are saying it's a give and take from this meeting as two authorities as Lao and as NGOs as Konapa? What is it that we are coming up with that we are saying should be mitigatory strategies towards the challenges that we're facing? What is it that we have learned which is a take on okuhle esikufundileyo lokungama challenges esingathi sifuna ukuworka on working combined ukwenzela ukuthi sibe le improved community welfare, sibe le improved discussions and collaborations as organizations working towards gender sensitization, service delivery, betterment of the young children, the environment, and everyone else who's a citizen of Zimbabwe. Goyeni konapo esingathi ngama give and take esilawo before we conclude our meeting. May I open to everyone, even our wild mbona banenginyana sibili, they are welcome to contribute.
Good afternoon. Nina, I really like, because in this era, I feel that information dissemination is really important. So considering that, will in the rural areas, they've got no smartphones. Even those that have smartphones have got challenges with the network. So I really like the initiative, a Lupani local board, I don't know, they called it housing mod. I didn't get the name quite correctly, but if we could maximize on that so that we use our text on Allah to disseminate information relating to COVID, relating to initiatives that the local board or RDC is planning to have, I think we can go far with that. Thank you.
Siyabonga Portia. Anyone else or the addition or a different contribution?
I'm also with Portia. We appreciate what we are living in very difficult times where it's not as easy as it used to be long back, where you just gather people with hands. And we also appreciate the steps that the local authority is taking towards ensuring that even during this hard time, they're trying to keep the community engaged. They're trying to make sure that they mainstream gender across all their operations. As an organization, we really appreciate. And maybe what we can say is we are open for dialogues where there's needs that we come in as civic society or as organizations that work within the local authority to maybe have a closed stakeholders meeting to come up with strategies that we can do and participation of women, of youths, even during this period. So maybe it's up to the local authority to then sit down and call us for a meeting, whether on Zoom or yes, on Zoom. We would see as organizations, how can we come together and make sure that women are effectively participating even once they marriage.
Thank you, Ngoma. Usesekhona omunye ongathi ufisa ukuthi athi fahla nje kancane. If kungela, may I suggest that before I request you to afaka ama closing remarks, Longoma Abel has something to say on the aspect of Wild as our partner as well. May I say go two local authorities that we work with. Siyabonga kakhulu ukuthi ama ideas elwenzayo are very good and are very noble towards its citizen empowerment. We are welcome to our meetings. We would say Zoom because we're not allowed to hold on face-to-face meetings. Maybe I will speak on behalf of Wild, yeah, the two authorities or one a closed door session. Wild will create a Zoom link, let's Zoom meeting. So maybe that's how we come in as NGOs now. And maybe if such, we could possibly talk to Wild and have such a meeting. How best, as long as dates are suggested, I think we are always together with local board and RDC. Then such a meeting can be held. How do we plan together? Ngoma, may I hand over to you for a while? Then you give some closing remarks.
I think you have said it all and said it well, Mr. Sikho. So I think Ute can go ahead.
Thembelihle. Since uthe ngingasamtholi uNgwenya mbonani usijoyinile ubaba ovele out emasenyane but he never said anything. Sizacela asinikele isibongo kuye wonke umuntu oparticipate.
Ngiyabonga bakithi uthola leli
Sorry
thuba.
Ngwenya, sorry Khumalo. Sorry.
Alright, thank you. Kulungile. Ngithanda ukuletha ukubonga kakhulu to all the participants of this meeting and all the deliberations that went on very well, save for network challenges esihlangana lawo lapha lalaphana. But I just want to applaud the openness yama local authorities just now and khonokho ukuthi bavume ukubuya kuma meetings anjengalawa basiphe basevulele izifuba zabo lalokho abakuthweleyo lenhlupho abahlangana lazo besemukela lemibuzo evelayo. I think i-engagement ekhona is very good. Kuyinto enhle kakhulu. Siyabonga ukuzinikela. I hope and pray ukuthi we continue doing the same. Bakithi ngalawo maningi ngiyabonga mina.
Thank you. I had a request Ngoma before we all left. Maybe if everyone can turn on the camera, then we'll see shoot a picture of participants where possible.
Tutu, are you able to do the screenshot for us?
Nxa usutshayile Dudu sitshele. Dudu.
I'm supposed to be showing our faces.
Senzile screenshot.
Okay, thank you so much. Ndithanda ukubonga wonke umuntu oparticipateleyo. Siyabonga kakhulu.
Thank you so much.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.